the only reason I can't stop talking about it because I feel so good. It just seems uh, crazy that the world has hidden this from everybody. Everybody's part of the sugar cult. It's a big ass cult. The whole world's on a sugar cult, and all the doctors are in bed with the same cult masters. They're all selling the same crap. They're all trying to keep you sick.
James, how did you find Carnivore?
Um, I've been I found Carnivore through a guy that I met doing a renovation on a house for my son-in-law. His name was George, and George says he says to me he's probably about 5'5", maybe 140 pounds, not a big guy. And I said to him, he was telling me stories, and he said I used to weigh 280 pounds. I said, "Come on, George, that's impossible." Yeah, I lost it eating bacon and eggs 3 times a day. And I said, "George, come on, that's impossible. You're crazy. There's no way." And he swore by it. He told me his story. He said he went to the doctor, had about a bunch of blood tests, and they were surprised he's still alive. But he said he tore off the weight in about a year. He lost over 100 pounds, and the doctor thought he was crazy. And I said, okay. So I went to his doctor, got my blood tests done to find out what the hell's wrong with me because I was a little bit overweight at the time. Um, so I bought in and gave it a go, and now we're 502 days into the program.
So, what after you went to his doctor? I mean, were you suffering from
Oh
any
yeah, yeah.
particular things?
All the fat guy problems. You know, I'm 56, and my blood sugar was pre-diabetic, which means I was diabetic. Um, they suggested I should lose some weight, and I said, "How do you suggest doing that?" By the way, the doctor was way overweight. He was fatter than I was, and I thought, "Okay, well, you're the expert." Anyway, uh, so I just went through the process. I took his prescription. I never filled the prescription. I got my blood test done. It just basically said, dude, you're fat and you're sick and time to do some changes. That's all.
And after 502 days, what's happened in that time?
I feel amazing. I'm rock solid. I have energy, constant energy. It never stops. I don't get sore. I don't get tired. Uh, Prior to going on this way of eating, I was tired all the time. I mean, I had to convince myself to go upstairs. Every physical thing was a labor. If I ate a meal, I'd want to have a nap. I just did not. It's funny how poor health creeps on you slowly, slowly, slowly. The real contrast was after doing it for maybe about 3 months, I just had these periods of joy, bliss. I mean, I just felt great. I'm going, what the heck is wrong here? God, I feel good. This is not fair. How come nobody else feels this way? This must be what good health is. I just felt absolutely amazing. And I still do, to the point that I stop people that I bump into who look like they're dragging their ass around, not feeling well. And I say, hey, maybe you should try something a little different. You ever hear about a carnivore diet? But, this foghorn lighthouse thing, dude, I do both. I don't care. I'm going to tell anybody that looks like they need a little uplift. I mean, even my family's tired of hearing about it. They won't do it, but they're tired of hearing about it.
So, how does your eating go? And how do you work it in with your job and with family who are not doing it?
I take, I'll usually eat one meal a day, but I alternate that. Usually I try and keep it mixed up a little bit. So every other week, maybe I'll do 2 meals and one meal, like I just kind of mix it up. I try and eat when I'm hungry. A meal for me is maybe a pound of ground beef and 4 eggs, or a steak. At the beginning, I spent a lot of money on steak. I still eat steak, pretty much every week, but I'm not so fixated on it. Like I used to eat really
And
good steak. It cost me a little bit of money, a couple bills a week just to eat steak. So it started adding up after a while. So you find, let's say, more affordable alternatives. Ground beef is usually a go-to, and eggs and butter, lots of butter. So
right. And like, what do family think? They just think, crazy dad, or
I'm sure they've said a whole lot more when I'm not around. So that's okay. I don't care. I care about them. The only reason I can't stop talking about it because I feel so good. It just seems uh, crazy that the world has hidden this from everybody. Everybody's part of the sugar cult. It's a big ass cult. The whole world's on a sugar cult, and all the doctors are in bed with the same cult masters. They're all selling the same crap. They're all trying to keep you sick. Uh, I grew up on a hog farm, married a Muslim. Honest to God, truth. It just sounds so laughable and so crazy that people think I'm taking them for a ride. I'm just joking with them, but I'm being dead serious. It you can change your life, and feel fantastic. I don't care about the weight so much. The weight came off. I wasn't too worried about it. I was up to 254 at my heaviest. I've been riding around 240 for a while. I went vegan, vegetarian, uh, and the only thing that really worked well is carnivore. I mean, the weight came off on its own. It wasn't instant. I danced with the devil a bunch of times, having carbs here and there, just to see if it's working. See how it affects me. The superpower is fasting. I think fasting everybody should do. If you want to fix your body, fasting is part of the equation. Fasting and eating meat, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. I still stick to that. I'll have chicken every now and then, but my body doesn't like chicken too much.
So what's the number one thing that keeps you on this path?
I feel great. I just feel great. It's just
Mm.
I can't help it. I've got energy and feel fantastic. That's a tough one to give up. I was depressed probably for a good decade. I was fat and depressed, pissed off at the world.
Mm.
It just
Mm.
seems uh, it's one of those things that slowly but surely creeps on you. You can call depression mental illness if you like. It doesn't matter to me. I just was in a funk. I didn't. It was affecting my ability to perform in work, business. I have a lot of interests, a lot of businesses I've done. Feeling good makes everything go better everywhere.
Mm. Yeah. How do you feel now about George? You thought it
Oh,
was
I called George. I called George, and I almost cried. I said, George, thanks, man. Thanks for telling me the truth. This is a crazy call. I know it sounds like a crazy call, but dude, I love you. Thank you. Simple. I mean, he wasn't my first exposure to the carnivore. He came at the right time when I had been trying different things. I had gone vegetarian for at least 6 months. I had done kind of vegan mixed in there. I have friends that are influencers in the vegan world, and I thought I'll try it, but it doesn't seem to work for me. Um, this works for me, and I think it'll work for anybody if they're willing to give it a shot. I've got family members that are not well, physically not well, but to try and tell them about what might help them, uh, they're all addicts in my opinion, based on carbohydrates. Nobody will really go down the rabbit hole and abstain from eating carbohydrates, sugar, and seed oils. Those are the devil. Nobody else. You're doing it to yourself. It's so frustrating and sad at the same time. But I come across as being evangelical or whatever you want to call it, preaching about the eat the meat. They start making fun of me, and I just shut my mouth now. I don't even bother. I know it works. It works.
has anyone said, okay, I'll give it a try?
Nope. Well, one guy, I mean, but we'll see. Lots of people say they'll hear me, but I don't know. It's a personal thing. Some people got to decide they got to do. I think everybody's bottom or everybody's level of frustration, everybody has their own line in the sand, their own pain point where they have to change what they're currently doing to get to a point where you're willing to risk all of the pre-programmed messaging that you've had your whole life uh, and say, well, I'm not going to eat vegetables. I'm not going to eat fruit. I'm not going to eat bread. I'm not going to eat these things that are messing me up. Because you got to do a little bit of rabbit hole stuff and go on YouTube. YouTube has been a godsend. Your channel's a great channel because it tells the story of average folk and people that are, let's say, highly qualified that have education behind them and can use all the words that doctors use. I just say, eat meat. That's it. Eat it. You'll be good. Don't do anything else. Don't even look sideways. Just eat. And eat like it's your job at the beginning. Get fat adapted. It's going to be a little bit of discomfort at the beginning, but eat. That's your job. Forget counting calories. Forget monitoring what. Just eat the right things, and eat, and give it enough time for your body to adapt. There's going to be a little bit of let's say pain, not pain because of physical pain, discomfort or uncertainty as to if you're on the right path or not. That's life. I mean, just stick with it until. And it takes probably 2 or 3 months of doing it to really have an epiphany and go, wow, I just feel so good. It is crazy, crazy. I never would have believed it until I did it. I never would have. It just sounded like a lark. Let's give it a try. I don't think it's going to work, but it works so good. I can't stop. I have to stay with it.
So, what would you say to would people who reply carnivore is too restrictive?
I say, you don't know what you're missing. There's lots of way to cook meat. There's lots of ways to eat different cuts of meat. I don't find it restrictive at all. I was dreaming about steaks, dreaming about them. I'm thinking about if I'm doing one meal a day, I'm thinking, oh man, I can't wait to have that steak. The trick is always cook 3 steaks at a time. Eat one and a half or two. Keep one in the fridge. Cut it up and put it in your knapsack and take it with you. Put it in a glass container or a plastic bag. I don't care. Pocket steak works for me. No problem. I'll eat it cold. I love it. It's not a problem.
No. So, what kind of work do you do, James?
Oh, how to say that? I've been a licensed realtor since 1988.
Mm,
I run multiple businesses. I'm just busy, always busy.
right. And so, has carnivore helped in that regard?
Oh, absolutely. You take the question that every couple goes through. What do you want to eat tonight? And you go through the rattling around 5 or 6 different fast food joints. I don't do that anymore. I just eat. I eat for fuel. I don't eat for pleasure. It's still pleasurable. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love food. I was a foodie. I love food, but it didn't love me back the same way. I mean, I just feel good. I'm okay with steak and eggs the rest of my life. I'm good with that. It just sounds like crazy talk. I understand. I feel so good. It's worth it.
Nice. So, do you have any way to reach out to you, James? Do
Just
you have any
email.
social media? Email?
I do social media for real estate purposes, but nothing. I've been a closet carnivore. I haven't told anybody really, other than
Right,
people in my sphere, the 3 foot rule. Tell everybody and anybody
mm,
to listen. But no, not
right.
not really as far as I mean, other than Facebook occasionally and stuff like that. Chiming in
Yeah.
on YouTube haters. I love correcting them, but whatever. It stops pretty quick. There's no point. I don't know if they're paid people to object or whatever. I said, you don't have an opinion until you try it. You have no opinion. You have speculation. Try it, then have an opinion. No problem.
So, if it's okay, I'll put your email in the show notes.
Sure, sure.
Um, James, thanks for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
Sorry for the delay, dude. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Keep doing what you're doing.